Hey guys, welcome to today's video, and we are going to be breaking down today the top 5 decks that are currently being played in the best of 1 standard meta. These are what players are playing between Diamond and Mythic on MTG Arena, and this is the month of December, and we're going to be looking at which decks hopefully will take you up that further ranked ladder and get you to that potential number 1 spot. Can you do it? Hopefully you can get there by playing one of these decks. Now, there's definitely some decks outside this that you'll do very well with as well, but these are the ones that are being played and getting the best win percentages currently in Standard. So without further ado, we're going to go and take a look at today's decks. So we'll be featuring some of the new cards from Avatar today, and this is one of the best ones in there. Azorius Control is back into Standard. I do like this when this creeps up the meta. For me, being a control player, I do love playing these sort of decks myself, and it does run just a single one. Now, the win cons on this, to me, seem quite difficult. You do have the land creatures as well, but you have a single One-Shi Tong Librarian. So this is new from Avatar, Flash, Fly, and Vigilance. 1-1, when it enters, put a 1-1 counter on him, then draw half the cards, round it down. When opponent searches the library, put a 1-1 counter on the Tong and draw a card. So a nice finisher for the control decks, but it does, attack like the aggro decks. Single cards like Authority of the Councils. It does have a few one-offs in this deck, which makes it like a toolbox control kind of build. Other new card as well is a single Spirit Water Revival. That really does help when you want to draw all those cards. If you can play this for the Water Bend, draw 2 cards. If the spell cost was paid, instead of shuffling your graveyard into your library, draw 7 cards, then you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. So that does lead into this doing very well. Now, with Water Bend, creatures and artifacts can help you pay a Water Bend cast. So we've got Pinnacle Starcage that can help with that as well. We've got a single Soul Guide Lantern. So there is ways that we can obviously get that doing the Water Bend with it as well, to potentially have this coming in and then just keeping loads of cards. And what you want to be putting in, when you do this, is your counter magic, your No More Lies, your negates, just protecting it as best as you can. You're 3 steps ahead. Failing that, you're going to be going to war with your Restless Anchorage, attacking in, and then getting the big white blue bird, hopefully flying over, creating those map tokens, and then basically that is your win con for this deck. Now, very grindy games with this one, I will say. So if you're not in it for the long haul, then this is not your deck to play at all. You might get some auto quits, which would be nice, because a lot of players don't like playing against control, especially in best of 1, but a lot of the times they can quickly get underneath you and get a win against you. But this is still putting up really good results, so it's nice to see. Starcage will be a great card in this, and obviously Day of Judgment, a turn 4 Wrath as well, so potentially you can keep that until you can get your One-Shi in or Restless and get in for the win. But yeah, a deck that I've obviously got here crafted. I can play this deck if I want to, so I might run it through its paces and see how well it does for me. Blue is a very popular colour at the moment, and this deck is the bane of my life. I always say this every time I have to talk about this deck. I lose to this deck all the time. I don't know why. I mean, I know why. It's a very good deck. Repurposing Bay, when the bans were coming out, I was like, surely this is going to be hit. Sacrifice another product, search your library for one artifact card, mana value 1, and they go and find their removal, the Perilous Snares, the Pinnacle Starcages. A lot of people say to me, how do I beat this deck? So if you've got any great insight into that, please let us know which decks you play in the comments and how you do beat this deck consistently with whatever deck you're playing. It runs 4 Authority of Council, so really want this in open hand against those aggro decks, mono reds, landfalls, everything like that. Just slowing down, gaining a bit of life if you can, anything with haste. And then the other main card of this is your United Battlefront. So this will help you look at the top 7 of your cards. And the way you're playing this is putting 2 non-creature, non-land permanent cards with mana 3 or less, and you're hitting a lot. You're winning games with Simulacrum Synthesizer. This is going to be creating all those colourless constructs, and they get +1/+1 for each artifact. And there's a lot of artifacts in this deck, 30. 30 artifacts indeed, no instants, just an enchantments and 4 sorceries. So, this is a different type to me. It is a bit of a controlling type of deck, because you're using removal and everything like that. Tapping down with a relic, potentially another artifact, draw a card. You can put stun counters on stuff that's just going to keep attacking you. The creature lands, it doesn't have any, I don't think, in this deck. Which sometimes I think is another kind of win con. Maybe you just have 1 or 2 in there, but this version does not have that as well. But all in all, this is a very consistent deck, good one to learn how to play. If you're looking for a more technical deck, for me, this is one of those ilks for me. But yeah, constantly around in the top 5 Jeskai Artifacts, and a very good, powerful deck for you players to play up to Mythic. A fairly new one on the block is Simic Aggro. Badger Mole Cub, great from Avatar, probably one of the best cards in the set. And it also has One Shitty Tong, the Librarian as well. So 2 of the most powerful cards from the new set Avatar. Badger Mole Cub is a great 2/2 mythic card. Enters Earthbend 1, and whenever you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green mana as well. So tapping the cards, using other permanents to tap, Llanowar, making double green and everything like that. It's really, really good, and you can just make lots of mana. So how are you winning with this deck? Well, you've got Ouroboros. Now, Ouroboros is a very powerful card. This left unchecked will just put so many counters on every creature, every kind of beginning of combat, of your combat, and it does get out of hand, and all of a sudden you're just swinging in, and it really does just take over a game, which is what this deck does. Has loads of creatures, just all creature deck, 36 creatures in this build, and only 3 non-creature spells, so going to deal with Wraths quite easily. You've got plenty of backup in there. Don't just all automatically lead into putting double Ouroboros on the field. You don't need to with this deck. One can just do the job. So don't give opponents with their Day of Judgments and everything like that, the control decks, a chance to wipe a lot of them on there, because you do want this and then start building up. And even late game though, God, this is just superb. Putting this in as a massive X with all those 1/1 counters and then drawing lots of cards as well. All in all, a very powerful deck, and I want to craft this one. I am missing a few cards, as you can see. Missing a few mythics here. It is a mythic heavy deck, so that's always something to think into if you've got limited, but you want to if you want to just focus in one good deck, then this, to me, I've played against it, lost a fair amount of times. It does, I haven't played control. I've not personally played with the control deck against this, so I'd like to know whether those matchups sort of fare. Mockingbird, copying one of those creatures as well, so it gives you extra Ouroboros or something like that. Also, Draneth, Reviver of the Hive, is in there. So this is another great one to build up because it has Trample in there. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value equal to its power, copy that spell, then except the copy isn't legendary. So, maybe, an extra Tyvar in there or something like that. You've got other sort of cards that can be built up. This creature can't be blocked with creatures with power 2 or greater. Imagine putting the massive counters on that, and you're playing against some kind of token deck. Small weeny creatures that you're just going to get through with your Azor. All in all, it's got a lot going on, this deck. A few creature lands in there as well, so even more creatures to kind of do damage. The Restless Vinestalk is in there, and then just a mixture of really good lands. But yeah, I like Simic Aggro, and I think for me, if you've played this one as well, please do let me know how you've been doing with it. It's obviously doing very good results, up into the late 50% as I looked over on Untapped GG, which is where I get a lot of these decks for. Break them down for you, and yeah, I hope this one is one that I will try soon and get up those rankings. As I said, Ouroboros, Badger Mole Club, very, very good cards, being used in a mono green build, so save you some rares on the land base this one if you want to go like a different type of build, and then just, if you haven't got all the rare wildcard lands, you can just play this with 16 forests. It does run 4 besting, but pretty sure you could just use 20 forests if you want, and it wouldn't really affect this deck at all. A lot of crossover cards here, like I said. Paw Patch, got Llanowar, Gene Pollinator, so a slight different twist. But this one, you're going for the big Crater Hoof Behemoth as your win con if Ouroboros doesn't do it itself. Couple of Tyvars, one in the other one, but this is sort of ramping out mono green ramp style and then getting into these big creatures if you can. Ways to tap for mana early: you've got the Pollinator, Llanowar, you've also got Weaver to get this down potentially as early as you can, and then swinging in for those massive plus XX and trampling over all those little weenie decks. That is what this deck is all about. Similar to Simic Aggro. Interesting that this one is putting up slightly better results as well. Could be just due to being a monocolour deck. Monocolour decks obviously can do very well, and they can be a bit more consistent as well because you haven't got the problem of not Arena screwing you over on lands. But yeah, I like mono green, and it's good to see this season in Standard that it's coming back a little bit. So the last deck is a mono white enchantment deck, based around Ethereal Armour, getting lots of enchantments onto the battlefield, building up a single creature if you can, sometimes 2, and then going for an alpha strike win, sometimes one swing win with this deck. Great removal, Seam Rip for early removal, Enchantment still ticks up armor. You've got Shelter by Ghost, one of the best removal spells in white in the game. And what's good about this is pretty budget friendly for this. Though, you know, the current highest ranked deck at the moment is budget friendly, which is good. As you can see, a lot of commons and uncommons in this deck. Really a high percentage. Now, the rares in this deck are the one from Spider-Man, Helpful Weaver. Really good, creates an extra token, gives you a bit of reach, 1/1 counter going something, so that will help when this goes on. This potentially gets it modified, so then this creature has flying as well, so another way to modify that creature. And then a target creature you control gets double strike. Now, when you're building something up and potentially flying over the top using that evasion, you can just get a single strike win. It really can be that good. Using the Vendor, the other one of the other rares in the deck, getting paying 1 when you do put a sorcerer role token attached to a target creature. That gets +1/1, and whenever you attack your scry. And the scry is really really helpful in this. I have found that Vendor has been a really good card, and getting one of those tokens on there, and yeah, finding what you need, finding either the bit of removal. For this card, essential to have in hand if you can in your opening hand. Shard Maze Rescue. It makes the wins so much easier because there's a lot of spot removal in Standard, and I found that I've definitely win the games when I've got this 1 or 2 of these in hand, and you're basically just removing what you can early doors and building yours up really quick using these 2 types of removal, and then building it like 20 planes. This is a budget player's dream. So to have such a powerful deck, the consistency and the, you know, how these cards all merge together in this deck, this is why I think it's the #1 playing deck at the moment, and because it's very budget based. But budget doesn't not mean powerful, and this is a very powerful deck. So now I'm going to take, you know, there's a couple of little shout outs that I want to do. Where is this deck? This is a 5 rare version, so this is a sneak peek of a deck that's doing quite well at the moment. Gruul Breakout is using this card. This one you will come across quite a lot, and it is, even though I've got a 5 rare version that I've made for budget players that's coming on the next video, next long form video. This card, look at the top 6 cards, a lot of text. You may reveal creature card from among them, then you get to put mana value to it, but you may put it onto the battlefield, it gains haste. If not, you put it into your hand. So this really does help you find stuff. But what this deck is all about is another Badger Mole Cub, an Aura Boy card, and creates a Behemoth. So as you can see, I've used an overrun in there as a budget sort of substitution, so I'm keeping the mythics and rares down to 5 as best as I can. But it's just a really consistent deck. There'll be different variations of this, so you can search them out. Give this one a try as well. I've had some very good wins even in this 5 rare budget version that I've put together. And the full version basically will have 4 of these, and a couple of these as well. Some decks do have 4 of these, but the majority of the deck is still the same. Obviously, then getting rare lands to replace some of the budgets. But yeah, this is a deck that you will probably meet on the way up. I feel like this is a deck that's going to be potentially maybe top 5, top 6 by the by the time we do our next video. So there has been the top 5 with a little shout out for Gruul Breakout in this video. Let me know which decks you are going to play from this list, if any at all. Hope you will, and I hope you will get up into the Mythic and the high numbers of Mythic. Always come back and tell me. I love it when people come back and tell me, you know, where they got to with things. Sometimes it's bad news. Sometimes they said, this deck didn't work for me. But they are clearly working for a lot of people, because these are the, you know, when you look at the stats and Untapped, you can see that these decks are putting in the wins. If you want to get any of the decks in paper and you're in Europe, check out my sponsors Cardmarket. You can go and get all the paper cards you want over there. And of course, if you want to support me further and love all the content I do, you know, I try to put out at least with shorts and videos, at least 5-6 videos a week if I can. So yeah, if you want to support me on Patreon, anything helps. Thank you very much. But you lot take care, and I'll see you on the next video.